Hey there, welcome back to Cooking with Violet Vixen. Back again. Today I'm making flapjacks, which are basically just like they're going to look like a biscuit of some sort. They've got rolled oats in them, or porridge oats. I'm using the quick oats because don't use those as much as the normal rolled oats used for making porridge. So, oven onto 190. Which I've just cranked up from the last thing that I was cooking. Grab yourself what I like to call my slice pan. We're going to grease this with a little bit of lard, so don't put the baking paper on like we normally do. Something different, I know, but we're going with the recipe. And grab these ingredients. Demerara sugar, couldn't get, went to look for it, forgot, had brain snap. So I'm just using normal brown sugar. If you can get Demerara sugar, you're probably going to get a different flavour, but I don't think it's going to be too much. Mixed spice. I don't have mixed spice. Allspice. Pretty sure it's the same thing. Anyway, it's going to do the same job. So let's get these and go. So just grab yourself a tissue or a little bit of baking paper to use for greasing your pan. I always like to use a baking tray under it just in case anything bubbles or whatever. So the lard I keep in the freezer. I've had it in there for ages. It's not going to go off. It's pretty frozen at the moment, obviously, though, so that's the only downside to it. But the main thing is we do need it pretty well greased, because otherwise, if you've ever cooked anything without baking paper before, you'll know it's not fun. So get as much in here as you can. There we go. You don't want a huge excess though, because otherwise it's probably going to end up flavouring the rest of it. Okay. I normally use butter and then line it, but like I said, I've had it in the freezer and I am trying to do recipes where I'm using up things that I've had for a while. Plus, these also sound very interesting. So you can cut them into fingers, so they're almost going to be a cross between a slice and a biscuit, I suppose. Anyway, that's done. Let's get to it. Set this pan aside so it's not in our way. Okay, so first up we need to melt our margarine. So I've just used good old Meadow-Lee, whichever margarine you use, just use. And we're going to melt this and the golden syrup with our Demerara sugar, aka brown sugar, in a pan. So let's get a saucepan. The smell of the butter and the sugar and the golden syrup melting is a beautiful smell. So yeah, this is going to be like a interesting breakfasty sort of a slice. So there was one more thing I needed, golden syrup. Okay, so plop the butter in. Good thing is because my oven's on, my stovetop's a bit warm, so that margarine melts a lot quicker than butter does as well. Alright. Best thing to do before you start, number one, read your recipe. In this case, you're following me, so it's all good. Have everything measured and weighed, because then that way you're just chucking it all straight in. Half a cup of brown sugar, aka Demerara sugar. Okay, crank that up. Not too hot though. With mine I have to crank it up and then back it back. I am going to grab a wooden spoon. And turn that down gently. Okay, and then add your 1 tablespoon of golden syrup. Now, I've cranked it up and then I cranked it down to 2. So in this goes. Beautiful. Now when it melts, just try and put that in because you've got a bit more golden syrup there. Okay. So the awesome thing about this recipe is everything is going to be mixed in this one saucepan. And then it just bakes in the oven. So it's sort of like a one bowl dish in a way. Yeah. Golden syrup's good, but geez, it's a sticky mess. Okay. Get that stirring. Once everything's all melted, then we can add our pinch of mixed spice and our rolled oats. As I said, use normal rolled oats, but I've got the quick ones, so I needed them for a recipe and they're not going to get eaten, so I'm using those ones instead of the regular ones. Okay, the margarine's practically dissolved. Get your allspice / mixed spice. It's probably changed its name to mixed spice now. Allspice is ingredients allspice. That doesn't tell you anything. I believe it's like nutmeg and cinnamon. So anyway, just a pinch. Can't even see if there's anything coming out of that. Yep, there was then. Stir that in. There's just a little bit of margarine left to incorporate in that. And I've turned it up a bit too because it's like watching a kettle boil when it doesn't want to. Put your allspice back in the cupboard. Alright. While we're waiting for that, I'm just gonna, can't remember if I've actually shown you the spice rack. So I have a fairly organised pantry, as you can see. But I cracked the shits one day when I couldn't find herbs and spices, so that went on the door after I purchased it. And it's all in alphabetical order. So much easier to find everything. There's an overflow box because sometimes I've been doubling up on things. Overflow box. I know what's in there. I know what's got to be used first. There you go. I thoroughly recommend if you're a cook and you use herbs. There was some herbs that I've had to buy, meat tenderizer, things like this, that I may not use for a long time. So at least I know I don't have to double up. There you go, words of wisdom. Alright, and plus that's only dead space in that pantry. Alright, perfect timing, we're back. In goes our rolled oats, aka quick cooking oats. That is looking pretty good. Alright, when that's all mixed in, turn that off. I'm going to bring my pan over so that you can see where we're going. Alright, here we go. Tip this in. It is definitely resembling an Anzac biscuit of some sort. It's not very thick, but that's okay. It may rise, it may not. That is what it looks like. Alright, how long? We are cooking this for 20 minutes until golden brown. So, you know what that means? In she goes. Whack that timer on for 20 minutes and we're going to be back. Catch you soon. Excuse me. 20 minutes is up and I've just had a look and they don't look very golden brown. So I'm going to give them another 5. So it was trying to tell me to, once it was golden, and to cut it into fingers while it was still hot. As you can see, once the bubbles have subsided, they're actually shrinking into a finger size. So there's 10 of them. Leave them to cool completely and then remove them to a wire rack, or better still just straight into a container. Thanks for watching Cooking with Violet Vixen. Catch you next time.